Okay, so this is essentially the outcome. What it will display, so it'll highlight again the spot that we're looking at. So we're looking at the blue light on the left hand side. We're looking at the red icon on the right hand side. If we'd been doing the video interrupt method, green line, that would display up in this quadrant. There's a lot going on, so you can ignore these numbers, they're not too important at the moment. This is our blue side, this is our red side. So we're looking at the first out of 498 trials, and there's 497 here. So what's likely happened is that in the final instance, the blue light is turned on, but then the video is cut off before an animation frame appeared. So that would explain why there's a difference. It tells us again where coordinate-wise we're looking. It tells us our threshold is a blue value greater than 100 for the blue light and a red value greater than 150 for the red icon. Now it will show you these two. In this box it kind of shows you the color change, and you can push Z to kind of zoom in on the area of interest, and then it'll show you the frame before, the frame that it has determined as the one that counts, and the frame afterwards. So you can see that kind of mirrors what we've got here. We go from dark to bluish to almost white, dark to bluish to almost white. And same thing here. So this is a bit awkward. There is a bit of fade. Because of where we've chosen the icon, there's a little bit of kind of pre-appearance, but it didn't meet the threshold. If you go back a frame, it's pretty much gone. And you see here it's kind of a strong color. So you know, potentially you could count this one as it, and it would be about 2 milliseconds faster. But that's just the challenge of doing interpretation off the screen. The results are all pinned here. And so you can see this is 200 milliseconds at the top, so about 50 here, and it's got all of them laid out. You can scroll through and just have a look. So I should point out, because we're doing 5 tests per second, the animation doesn't always correlate to the command history appearing. So, you know, there'll be buttons being pushed when he's still in mid-animation. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to what he's doing animation-wise. Indeed, I've tried to avoid it, but you can have it where they're totally out of sync, but that's not what we're looking for in this one. As you can imagine, because we're only looking at a single pixel in terms of how its color changes, the camera needs to be completely steady. Ideally, the frequency of button pushes should be regular, just because then it means that the program, it skips ahead once it's found a value, and if it can predictably skip ahead 12 frames once it's found something, or 100 frames once it's found something, that's a lot better than having to scan through each one of those frames individually. As you can see, our results are pretty consistent. So if and you can see here it says on frame 4336 it found a result, like a command, and then on 4310, which was the equivalent, that's when the light turned on. So we subtract those, it gives us 26 frames, remembering that's frames of the video, 480 frames per second. It calculates that out at 54.17 milliseconds. It also gives you the average across these. So you can kind of scroll through. You can see that about 66, so 2/3 of 100 milliseconds is about the top of where it might go, and then it will kind of range down to about 52 or so. And then that pattern will just repeat, maybe 50, so that'd be about 16 milliseconds, wouldn't it? And that's it. So that is how the results appear. You can alter them now. So for example, if we were adamant, I'm just scrolling through, you know, if we decided that is enough red for me, I'm going to count that, as opposed to the, you know, more developed icon, then you can click here and edit the results. And that will be fine. And that's about it. When you press enter from here, which I will in a second, it will create an Excel spreadsheet with all of the information there. That Excel spreadsheet is formatted so it's got the frame, the time, and then if, for example, when I do controller input lag, often you could, what you're interested in is the times when the buttons didn't come through at the same time. So where one controller beat another. I've set it up so it can generate just the times for when some difference occurred, and then that kind of lets people jump around YouTube videos more easily, as opposed to them having to manually scan through, 50,000 frames, which is potentially what we're up against until now. It generates the Excel spreadsheet. It generates all of these images so that those are all available to go back and check later. And that's about it. So anyway, any questions, fire them away. I will look to upload the program at some point. The code itself, as always, very messy, very amateurish. More than happy for someone else to come along and do this. But it does seem to kind of get the job done in the way that I want it. Cheers.